Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. We'll get started here very soon with this solo playthrough of the board game Tetrarchia, which is by Draco Ideas. They're a small, I would say relatively small Spanish independent publishing company, and I want to start off by saying that they did provide me with this copy of the game, courtesy of them being nice, and therefore I want to, return the favor by, showing this game off to you guys and doing a proper playthrough of the game. Now, as noted on the box, so we go back to the side camera here. It's listed as 1 to 4 players and from 20 to 60 minutes in game length, and then ages 10 and up. So and the other thing I want to quick do is, I thought I had this up properly. What happened to it? Oh, okay. So just wanted to show you the game, the Board Game Geek page, before I get started, to provide a little more context. So as you can see, this was published in 2015. I don't know if Draco, there's a little bit of history in terms of the publishing rights of this game. Nonetheless, listed as a 2015 publication. As you can see, this has a second edition insignia on the upper right of the box. So I do know that there was maybe an original edition that probably is very difficult to find. But the theme of this game, if not obvious by the cover, is Roman Empire, and in the game you're going to be playing as 4 different Roman emperors during the time of a Tetrarchia, and I don't want to get into the history of the game because I'll just make myself seem stupid. Apparently there was at one time 4 rulers in Rome, and then you're fighting off the 4 different barbarian groups. Now, already I can imagine some of you are probably thinking, like, isn't this literally, another version of Pandemic Rome? And the design of this game, I think, actually came before Pandemic Rome, and so you could argue that Pandemic Rome is then a version of Tetrarchia. I don't want to, make up things here in terms of which actually came first from a design standpoint. But yes, this game definitely will feel very familiar to Pandemic Rome in many regards if you've played Pandemic Rome before. But but at the end of the day, it is a different game, mechanically speaking. By no means is it a reskin. It's just very similar in the fact that you're trying to defend Rome. It's kind of that it fits that pandemic theme of essentially trying to keep the different tracks from getting out of hand, and you have a limited amount of actions on your turn that you can do. So the other thing I do want to point out is, if anything, it's also very similar to the States of Siege games, which is a series of games from Victory Point Games, and in which that you have different tracks of enemies coming into all together to a central point on the map. And speaking of the map, here we have the map for Tetrarchia, and as probably obvious by the box itself, it's a small footprint game. This game, from all dimension, it's very thin and very wide, or very thin, very not wide, very very short, very compact. Let's just say that. So you can take this game with you anywhere you go. Fits in the backpack, obviously, and there's really not many games out there, board games out there, at least, maybe card games, but definitely not many board games that have this small of a footprint, and offer, I think, as much gameplay as Tetrarchia does. So let's actually dive into the game, so now that I've been talking for a while here. And I do want to mention, feel free to send comments my way while I'm playing the game here. I will try to get to them, but I have like a bajillion screens open all over the place and I kind of lose track. So I apologize if I in fact miss something at some point, but it's definitely not my intention. Sorry, I actually wanted to look at this one quick. See if I have anything. I don't think I do. Okay, so let me go back and check one more thing. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I wanted to do the setup with everyone just to kind of do a full playthrough, including setup. And to reiterate, this game can go up to 4 players, although it's perfectly playable solitaire. You always will be playing with the 4 different leaders, Roman emperors, regardless of if you're playing from 1 to 4 players. And they do represent actual historical emperors. And I wish I could pronounce the names correctly, but the names are listed right here for the different colored emperors. So, but we're going to do setup first. In 1 player, as it says in the rules, all emperors are controlled. Let me turn the slide off. There we go. And as it says here, first you must randomly distribute 6 revolts. So the black discs represent a revolt. In each outer region, roll the black die. This die. And on a 1 reroll and place a revolt in that province until you have a revolt in each region. Some capitals can thus start in revolt. So looking at the map here, there's 6 outer regions, and essentially these are like the starting points of the various, where the starting points for the barbarians. And you say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we roll this dice for each outer region, because then for each outer region there's this track that dictates the route that starting barbarians will follow. Starting barbarian armies will follow as they make their way to Rome. And along that path, there's numbers that are probably a little too difficult to see, and I apologize. I did try to optimize the focus of my camera. The board's so small, and I have my webcam above me, so this is as close as I could get that's still decent focus. But nonetheless, there's numbered waypoints on the path to Rome, and as the saying goes, all roads lead into Rome. So let's take care of that, and we'll go ahead, and I think it's just one at a time. Region by says, first you must randomly distribute 6 revolts in each outer region. So we will do that using the dice tower. Dice tower, I meant dice tray. Now we'll get that light back on. So first region we'll say, okay, so it's a 5, and that means for region 1, we will put a disc on number 5. So 1 is Hispania. Is that right? Or 1 is... See, this is where I'm getting outer region. First, you must randomly distribute 6 revolts. In each outer region, roll the dice and place a revolt on that province until you have a revolt in each region. Yeah, so I think I put a 5 here, or put this revolt on number 5 for Hispania. And if I'm doing something wrong, I apologize. I'm not saying I'm a rules expert on this game by any means. So second region, we have a 2. So then region number 2 is up here. And also it goes on number 2, which normally is a red kind of starting point. So that's unfortunate, I believe, but a black revolt disc will go there. All right, so now we go to number 3. Number 3, we rolled a 4. So region 3. Oh, wow. And once again, there's a yellow. It's probably hard to see, but this is also the yellow starting point. And unfortunately, a revolt covers that up there. So now we go to number 4, region 4. Roll a die. Roll the dice. It's number 5. And number 5 is down here. And then we go to region 5. We roll. We get a 1, and the rules say on a 1, re-roll, so we will re-roll. We get a 6. So 6 for region 5 puts the revolt there. And finally, region 6, which is called Libya. Number 4. And number 4 is over here. Okay, so that part of the rule setup is done. Now what's next? We did the revolts. Now we choose the difficulty. Since this is essentially my first game, I'm going to go with the first difficulty. So one of the proponents of this game is that, or one of the kind of selling points of the game is that there's all these different difficulty potentials because of how you start the game. And there's this chart here, and there's 4 different options that have 3 different difficulty levels. So you could decide, I'm going to play on the high level of difficulty for a number of garrisons per emperor, but for everything else I'll do low. But for this first game, we're going to say I'm doing the low level of difficulty for each option. And like, for example, the number of garrisons are what these, I call them bases, because they look like, I was just playing a coin game, and in coin games, circles are always usually bases. So I'm going to say they're bases, and they're called garrisons, so essentially bases. So we will use all 5 of each for each emperor. I'm sending them off to the side here. And then Roman fleets. So that's kind of a cool mechanism, that simple mechanism of this game that if you're not playing on easy would definitely then add in some unique strategic thinking. So these boats, or the fleets, Roman fleets, have 3 possible options on the game board. There's a 1, 2, 3, and simply put, they're bridges. They allow you to move units, and we'll get to see this once we start the game, but they allow you to move your armies across the water. Oops. Oh gosh. Clumsy me just took this disc and knocked it right off. So I have one in 6. 5. Oh yeah, it was Asia. Yep, I remember that one actually. So I'll try to be more careful here. So in an easy game, you have a fleet in each of the 3. You have 3 boats, as it says here in the low level of difficulty. So you don't even have to worry about having a fleet as a bridge to cross from like here to here across the Mare and Tirani. I can't pronounce a lot of these words, so I apologize. But normally, if there was no boat there, you can't just go from here to here. But since there's a boat here, you can go from here to here, which will greatly help getting to squell the rebellions that start popping up. So in an easy game, you have a boat in every possible location, so there's no need to even worry about moving your boats around. But on a medium level and then higher level difficulty, you'll only have 2 or 1, and so therefore you'll need to take into account where you have your boats, and you can move boats around. That's an action that you can choose to do. Anyway, so back to setup. Talks about adding the different stuff. So, yep, okay. Once you choose the level and setup, let me turn the light off again. Once you choose the level and setup, the rolled threats on the board, place the fleets on the sea zones of your choice, and start the game. And in this case, again, all sea zones are equipped with the fleet, so I don't even have to worry about it. Each round consists of 4 turns. In the sequence of green, yellow, red, blue, and so I'm forgetting where it says the starting locations of the generals. I think they start off the board. And so there you go. Yeah, I think they start off the board, and for 2 of the let me go back to the main board. So for the yellow emperor and for the red emperor, their starting spots are actually already covered up by revolt discs. So as the rules say, if they're off the board, you can choose to have them start in Rome or their capital if it's not covered by any disc. And in the case, again, of those 2 emperors, their starting spot, their capitals are covered, so they're going to have to start in Rome. So, as noted here, on the emperor's turn, so we start the game with the green emperor, so they're off the board. I have to plop them somewhere. They can spend up to 6 points as long as they're on the board. Any of the following 5 actions. In any order they wish, and they can move. I won't go into the details of all of this. They can sail. Sail is where you would move boats if you only had 2 or 1, which it's not. Since we have 3, we don't have to worry about sail. Secure, you can build garrisons. So if I wanted to, for action points, I can build a green base or garrison on an empty spot. So the one thing to point out is what is the goal of the game, and that is we need to have a garrison on all 6 of the outer regions starting spots. So to do that, I eventually would need, let's say I have the green emperor, I place them there, and then for 2 action points, then I can place a green disc, and now I've secured the border is the term that the rules call that action, securing the borders of the empire. that's what I'm trying to do. And it's funny because it sounds so simple on paper, like, oh, okay, that's all you have to do. Like, that shouldn't be difficult. But in reality, it definitely ends up being a little more challenging than one would think. So then the other options that I have are subdue, and that's to get rid of the black discs, the unrest or revolt discs, and then gray is unrest, and you'll get those as well. Gray and black, I liken those to the game Flashpoint, where you have smoke, and you can get rid of smoke for one action point, but if you let smoke hang around, it can then turn into a fire, and then for fire, you need to spend 2 action points to get rid of fire. So that's kind of what, in my mind, I think of when I look at these gray and black discs. And then they can attack. Attacking is a little convoluted, the most convoluted of all of the rules in the game, so we won't get into detail on that. And I think that was the last action. And then after... yeah, so then... after the Rome phase, after each emperor, then you have after the one emperor goes, and you have a barbarian phase. So let's get started here. The green general or emperor starts, and I'm going to have them start on their base, and right away they have the opportunity to get rid of this revolt in Asia. And I'm thinking of just having them take care of that. So to move from waypoint to waypoint is typically 1, but if there's a unrest disc, then it adds +1 to the movement. So I'm going to go 1, 2 to move to that black disc location. Then to get rid of that disc, it is going to cost me 2 more points. So 1, 2, or so 3, 4, I'll say, to get rid of that black disc. And keep these off to the side. I know they don't really stand out very well on the white, on the black background, but they're there. So I have 2 more action points left. I could drop a base down for this, and I don't know if that's a good idea or not, so I'm just going to do it for 5. And then I'm going to have the green general start making their way to Persia, so for 6. And that's their turn. So now we move to the barbarian phase. Barbarian phase is revolts. Check the status of the revolts. So we go down here. Any unrest, which we don't have. Yep, so we don't have to worry about that. Then we have barbarian activity. Roll the white and black dice together and check the content of that province. Okay, so region is white, and then black is province. Meaning black is the circles on the map. So we will roll here and see what we get. Oh my gosh. A 1 and a 1. So 1 and 1 is right here, which is empty. So then we look at the rule book to see what that will mean. And no disc, place a unrest disc, which is the gray disc. So we do that. Grab a gray disc and place it there. And right now, already, you can see that there's this gray disc right next to a black disc, a unrest disc right next to a revolt disc, and as it mentions, then in the rule book here, the very first thing you check is any unrest linked to a revolt is changed to revolt. Now there's this very interesting rule in the game to kind of, what's the word? Try to make things a little more fair, I guess. Whenever there's something that's bolded with this link symbol, the rules say you have to roll a dice on a 1, 2, or 3. The province are considered not linked. On a 4 to 6, they are linked. And just to kind of illustrate that, and I probably could be playing just under this, and maybe I kind of like, maybe this is the better way of playing this game. Just using this smaller, more intimate camera setting. I think that actually is better. So maybe this camera is better. I know that much. Sorry guys for the kind of last minute. But there's all these broken, a lot of the lines between provinces, the circles, have these double barred iconography, which means broken links hinder movement. So in a player's turn, whenever you're moving through 2 provinces with this broken symbol, it's 2 movement instead of just 1. And so then to kind of make it more even, when the enemy's going and the barbarians are having a turn, the rules say if you're ever doing something for the barbarians and it's across this type of double dash symbol, roll a black dice on a 1, 2, or 3. They're linked. On a 4, 5, or 6, they're not linked. So then it's saying, in the case of rolling to see if the revolt spreads, it's not automatic. You would first check to see if you roll that 1, 2. Is it 1, 2, 3? Anyway. So after that part, after barbarian activity, that was what we did just now, rolling the 2 dice. Then number 3 is move the barbarian armies towards Roma. So right now, there are no barbarian armies on the board, but eventually we may start having barbarian armies come out. That's what these tokens are representing. And that's how you kind of really lose the game, is a barbarian army making all their way to Rome. I also think you can lose... you also can lose if you cannot place a disc of revolt or unrest. So that's where it has kind of a pandemic-y theme feeling to me, is, you can lose by just not being able to place one of the additional... you can lose by not being able to place something. So that was the first barbarian phase, and now we move on to the next emperor, and this color wheel helps keep track of the order turn of the emperor. So green just went, so that means yellow's next. Yellow's capital city is currently under revolt, so they're not able to start the game there. So they'll have to come out on Rome. And there's nothing. So this is where this fleet comes in handy, because this fleet is there. You probably can see this with this camera. There's this little gray section of the circles next to this body of water, and that's supposed to symbolize that this province is connected to this body of water, meaning all provinces connected to this body of water can be moved to and from each other as long as you have a fleet in that body of water, which I do. Meaning I can move right from Rome to here. Or actually, I think I can even move there. I don't know. I have to quick read the rules if there's any reason why. I know you can obviously move to a province with a revolt. Yeah, a fleet if both provinces are on the coast of the corresponding sea zone. So yeah, I could move right to... I don't think there's an issue with that. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go 1, 2. Then for 2 more, get rid of this revolt. So I have 2 points left. And I'm going to... I don't know why not. I'm just going to put one there. For my 5th action, I'm going to drop down a garrison. And then for my 6th action, I'm just going to go straight into this starting area to set myself up to secure the border on my next turn for the yellow emperor. So now we will go ahead and, yeah, for this camera, maybe I'll use as the dice camera. Now it's the barbarian's turn, and revolts. Check the status of the revolts. So thankfully I got rid of the revolt next to the unrest token, so I don't have to worry about checking to see if that unrest turns into revolt, since there's no revolt next to it anymore. So we skip past the revolt part of the turn or phase. Next we do barbarian activity, which is rolling the 2 dice and to see what gets placed where. And region is, so it's region 6, province number 2 is what I just rolled. So region 6 is Africa, province number 2 is Cyrenaica. Gosh. So it's there. And since it's empty, there's nothing there, I would place an unrest. So that's not too bad. And next barbarian advance. I just am double checking to make sure that if there's no barbarian armies on the board, you don't do anything. Because barbarian advance, I'll just read it out loud. All the barbarian advance, following the black arrows below the links towards the next linked province. If there are several armies and their order of movement may influence the game result, move first those close to Rome. If they got the same distance, blah blah blah. Whenever a barbarian army enters a Roman province, remove any disc and place revolt. If an emperor blocks the advance, the barbarian army attacks. So it doesn't say you do anything if there's no barbarian armies. So I think you just move on with your life, which means the next turn is the red emperor. And once again, like with the yellow emperor, the red emperor's starting base spot is gone, or is currently under revolt. So I have to put them in Rome, and I'm going to send them up to take their spot back by spending one action point to go take a move action across the body of water to here. Oops. So that's 1, 2 to go up there, 3, 4 to go in the spot with the revolt disc, because the revolt adds +1 to the movement. So far, though, both of these provinces have been linked without any kind of difficult terrain, which is nice. So I have 2 points left, and that means I'll spend my remaining 2 points to take out that revolt and win my base back. And that takes care of the red emperor's turn. Now we move to the barbarians phase, and this first part of barbarian phase is checking revolts. We have 2 revolts on the map down here, 2 unrest tokens on the map here, and here, but neither are connected to a revolt. So then we don't have to worry about those unrest tokens turning into revolt. So we move on to barbarian activity by rolling 2 dice, and we get region 6 again, province 5 this time. So region 6, Africa, province 5 is way down here. So now I'm surrounded. But that's actually okay, I think. Could be worse, I assume. And then we move on, barbarian advance. And again, there's no barbarian armies on the board. Let me see if this light makes things better. I think with that level of light, it helps a little bit. So we move on to the final emperor, which is blue. Now blue's base is available to start on, although it's also the closest to Rome, so it's really not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna take advantage of it, put him there, and I think right away I'm gonna head off and take care of that revolt, because why not? It's 1 to move there, then 2, 3 to move on top of the revolt, 4, 5 to get rid of the revolt, and then for my 6th and final action, I guess I'll put down a garrison. Oh, shoot. I forgot. So the yellow player has a garrison there, and I think what I'll do is backtrack and say that I placed a garrison on this space just to have them next to each other. We haven't gotten to a battle yet, but with a battle, having contiguous garrisons of your color, yeah. But anyway, so having continuous lines of garrisons is very helpful when doing combat. So we haven't gotten to that yet, but eventually I think we probably will. That will conclude the blue emperor's turn, and now we move on to that barbarian phase. Once again, when we look at the unrest tokens, which probably you can probably see the color difference here, here, and here. All 3 are not next to revolts, so we don't worry about doing anything with them. So we move on to the rolling barbarian activity step. And we get a 2 and a 1. Region 2 and province 1. So region 2 is here. Province 1 is there. And we place an unrest then. Oops. Unrest on province 1. Belgica. Maybe I said that one right. 1 for 20. And no barbarian armies to advance. So we move on to... Gosh, I really hope I'm doing this right, because... I mean, eventually you can have a barbarian army when you... place 1 revolt. If there is an army left in the reserve, this uprising may generate an echo. Also, only in that case, roll the 6 and place an army on that region's border if it is empty. If it isn't, roll in addition the 6 and resolve both dice as if they were... Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only way you get an army is if you do the barbarian activity step, and the result is a revolt province. And we haven't had that yet. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm playing right. Okay, so then that concluded the barbarian step, and we now are back to the Green Emperor. So Green Emperor... I mean, they're closest to Persia. So I'm tempted just to have them head towards Persia. Oh yeah, I think I definitely will have them head towards Persia because they can move straight to. Now it's a little cut off, barely. No, it's okay. Because they can go to Arabia, Arabia down here because this is connected via the body of water. So for one point down to there, this isn't broken or isn't difficult terrain. So it's 2 points just to go into Persia, and then 3-4 to place a green disc on Persia. And then I'll say 5 to go back to Arabia, and then 6 to drop another garrison down on Arabia, because I'm going to set them up to go to Libya, I guess, in the future. So we got 1 of 6 objectives done. I don't know if I'm doing well or not right now, but now it's the barbarians phase. We have no unrest tokens at risk of turning into revolt, so we roll for the barbarian activity, and we get a 5 and a 4. So region 5, Asia Minor, and province 4. One of my green bases. But the rules do say if a garrison is there, do nothing. It's protected. Cool. So I think we just gloss over that and move on to the third phase, which is our barbarian advance, and our third step, barbarian advance. There's no barbarian armies. So we move on to the Yellow Emperor's turn. Yellow Emperor is already set up to take care of the placement of securing the province there. So that's 1-2 in terms of number of action points. I guess going this way, so then I can have him go this way or that way. But this way I'm counting on the Green Emperor to take care of. So I'm going to have him come up this way, I guess. So it's 1-2 to start there. 3 to go to this area because it's an unrest token, which I don't think adds movement. It's only revolt tokens that add movement, and there's no dashes for broken terrain. So if it destination is a revolt, so it's 1, 2, 3 to go here, 4 to remove the unrest since it's just an unrest token, which is only 1 point to get rid of. I'm gonna drop down a garrison. Because why not? So it's 1, 2, 3 to move here, 4 to remove, 5 to add the garrison, and then 6 just to hop over to this area just because. Why not? So that concludes Yellow's turn. Now we move on to the barbarian phase. And with barbarian phase, once again, there's 3 unrest tokens, but they're not connected to revolts, so we ignore those. We move on to barbarian activity. Let's see what die results are. It's a 1 and a 2. Region 1, province 2. So region 1, province 2. Ooh, okay. I think you ignore the fact that I have an emperor there. And I just place the would place the unrest. If an uprising recent Yeah, emperors do not protect against the barbarian roll, only garrisons do, meaning I guess I do place an unrest token underneath the emperor, which is fine, I guess. And once again, still no barbarian armies to advance, so we move right on to the red emperor's turn. Red is up there, so I will move into Belgica for 1 action point. take out the Unrest in Belgica for 2 action points. Then I have to go 3-4, spend 2 action points to get into Britannia because, well, yeah, I have to spend 2 to get in there because of the broken border, and then a broken link. But then 2 more, my remaining 2 action points can be spent to place my secure the border there. So I've done 3 of the 6 so far. Now it's the barbarian phase. So I will... Oh, yeah. In terms of unrest, that can... Oh, there we go. So here we have a situation where there's a revolt next to an unrest. Since there is this double... Since it's a broken connection, we roll the dice, and on the 1 to 3, they're not considered linked. 4 to 6, they are linked. So I want a 1 to 3. Oops. Oh, bad roll, bad roll. 1 to 3 is what I want. And I got a 2. So they're not linked. That means we look back here, and there was no connection there. So this does not spread. So that's good. So that means we are on barbarian activity. Barbarian activity means we roll 2 dice. And region 3, province 3, we look back here. Region 3, province 3 is there. And that will get an unrest now. And I think that's okay because now it's Blue's turn. So for Blue's turn, there's still no barbarian army. So for Blue's turn, I'm just going to go straight into there to take care of that. So it's 1-2 to get into there, 3-4 to remove it. Then I'm going to send him back out here, 5-6, to put him on top of the unrest. And that's their end of their turn, but at least they're ready to take care of the unrest on their next turn. And now I've done 4 of the 6. Secure the borders. So next we have our barbarian phase. And once again we check the same spot to see if that will revolt. So again, we want a 1 through 3. But if it's 4, 5, or 6, it revolts. Gosh, I can't roll into this. And it's a 5. So that means this unrest marker will turn into a revolt marker. And next, all the emperors sitting on a revolt are removed and will come back to the board at the start of their next turn. So they're not exactly sure what that simulates. I guess them getting kicked out, but they will come back. They don't die permanently in the game, so we'll put them over there for now. So then it's the barbarian activity, where we roll the 2 dice. We get region 4 and province 4. So region 4, province 4 is right there, which is empty. So we just drop in an unrest token. Oops, sorry. Region 4, province 4 was there and it was empty, so we put in unrest. And then barbarian armies. Oh, oops. I knew I was doing something wrong, guys. I'm very sorry. So we will play this game correctly from here on out. Before I can do that, secure the border action, I need to make sure the corresponding region actually has no revolts. I wasn't quite doing that. Definitely down here, there was a revolt. And a revolt there. So from now on, I'll play correctly. I don't want to go back and try to guess what I did wrong. But that's why so far it has seemed somewhat simple, because I've been neglecting a pretty important rule. So I apologize for that. But this is my first time playing the game, and I was kind of being hasty about it. Anyway, so 4 and 4 is done. In terms of advancing armies, there's nothing to advance there. So we move on to the next color, Emperor's turn, which is green. And I was going to have green go straight for Libya. I'll still do that. So it's 1, 2 to go here. Well, it's actually just 1 to go here because I can take the fleet, the ship there. So that's 1, 2 to Libya. Now Libya, or Africa specifically, has no revolt tokens. So it is free of revolt tokens, so I can secure the border for my third and fourth action. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I want to put a green. 3, 4. And then I will have them 5, 6 go here and end their turn there, I guess. So I apologize for that mistake. Now now we do barbarian phase, and with in terms of adjacent unrest, I see no adjacent unrests. So we skip that part and we move into barbarian activity. Barbarian activity, we have a region 6, province 5. Region 6, province 5. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Interesting. Region 6, province 5. This will turn into a revolt because oops. Sorry, guys. So region 6, province 5 already had an unrest there. So that will become a revolt. Now, once they're secure, so the border is secured. The borders are secured permanently. Uprisings remove garrisons, but they only spread to Roman provinces. So I assume it doesn't matter the fact that I have actually secured the border of Libya. You can still have a uprising or revolt, I mean. So we'll assume that's the case. And there's still no armies, so we will go to Yellow's turn. Yellow Emperor was removed from action, so they just plop back on the board wherever. See, this time, now, I originally was going to have them, come here and go straight to here and take care of number 6. Or 4, sorry, 4. But there is a revolt down here that we have to take care of. So that will definitely change my plan of attack. And instead, I'm just going to start them in Rome, because I'm going to have them take a boat action to go over here for their first point. Then in here for points 2 and 3. Get rid of this one for points 4 and 5. And then head here, I guess, for point 6. So that definitely gave them another round. The barbarians now have that for another round. So barbarian phase is next. We look at the board to see if there's any unrests that are next to revolts, and there's not. So then we move to barbarian activity, which is a region 1, province 2, and sorry. And region 1, province 2. Ooh. All right, so now we're getting something interesting happening. Oh, God, I keep forgetting to go back. Region 1, province 2. There is already a revolt there. So, trigger an uprising. Place 1 revolt in all the Roman provinces linked to it. If they are already in revolt, do nothing. If they have another disc, change it to revolt. So, first and foremost, for sure there's a revolt disc there. Because it's a clean connection. Here, we have to do the roll to see if it's actually linked or not because it's broken. 1, 2, or 3, it's broken. It's no connection. 4, 5, or 6, it's a connection. 4, 5, or 6, we got a 6. That means those 2 provinces are connected for this. Meaning, unfortunately, I do lose the garrison there. That just goes away. And now we have a huge revolt. Thankfully, we maybe illegally took care of this region, but anyway, I don't know if I was playing correctly. I don't know if I would have been able to do this yet. So that would have really blown up the game right now. If there's any army left in the reserve, the uprising generates an echo elsewhere in the empire. Only in that case, roll the white dice and place an army on that region's border if it is empty. If it isn't, roll in addition the 6 and resolve both dice as if they were a new barbarian activity. So I roll the white die. And I got a 4. And wow, just so you know, or just so it happens, the 4 is empty. So now I will be placing my very first barbarian army there. Okay. And now we do barbarian advance. All the barbarian armies advance following the black arrows but below the links toward the next linked province. So here the arrow points from this province to this province. However, there is that difficult terrain. So it's not an automatic move. We do have to roll first to see if it's linked. 1, 2, 3, not linked. 4, 5, or 6, linked. And we got the 3. 3, meaning not linked. So the barbarian army will stay put for now. So, but now I have to take care of that because they're right on top of where I need to go. So this is definitely adding some excitement to the game. And I think I just did yellow's turn. So now it's red. And red's way over there. So I'm going to have red spend 1, 2 to move here. Jeez. 1, 2 to move there. I guess 3 and 4 to move here. Because I had to add the extra 4 because there's a revolt disc, and then I'm gonna do 5 and 6 to get rid of the revolt. And I'm just gonna, and that's their turn. So now, when we look at the map, there's there is unrest. There's 1 unrest here, but it's not connected to any. Oh, there's 1 unrest down here. Actually, there's a lot of unrest, but there's no revolts next to any of them. So no unrests turn into revolts, which means we just do barbarian activity. Barbarian activity was region 2, province 4. So region 2, province 4, right there, empty. So we place an unrest. And now we do barbarian army advance, which we now have a barbarian army. But again, it's a broken connection that it's supposed to move into. So 1, 2, 3, not linked. 4, 5, 6 linked. And we got a 5 result, meaning they are linked. So this barbarian army now moves into the next space of its path, and it's heading towards Rome. Also, whenever a barbarian army enters a Roman province, remove any disc and place a revolt. So they just poop out revolt discs as they move across the land. Wow. So, oh gosh, where did I pick up, or where did I just drop off? I just stopped with the, I think I just did red, yeah. So it's blue's turn. And I think for the time being, I'm going to stop here for tonight, guys. And maybe try to pick this game up later in the future. But hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. I apologize for for the misrule on the secure the border action, because that definitely would have impacted the results so far. But at least now I'm playing it right, and you can see how it's a relatively quick game to play once you get going. We haven't done a battle yet, so if I stream again, hopefully we'll see a battle soon. But anyway, with that said, thanks guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out all of the other Talking Cardboard content by using your phone and checking out this link tree, which has our Discord, our podcasts, our TikTok, Twitter. And if you like what we do, just be sure to reach out to us, ask your questions, and we appreciate your viewership. So thanks guys for watching this stream, and I hope to be streaming again shortly.